Following on from my last post about our seemingly collective individual fear in communication and saying the wrong thing and wanting to be perfect and everything like that, and the fact that it is coming up in a lot of conversations I'm having, both on and offline, I wanted to check in on one of the things that can play a role, which is around where we are hiding or shrinking ourselves or playing small. So this was inspired in a conversation I was having with someone that I've known for a few years. She had messaged me, she's probably watching this, but she'd messaged me after that last post. And we were just talking a little bit about how we can step into our own. And she said something that made me think of this whole idea of hiding that I feel like is very, very poignant to bring into the conversation here collectively. Because when we talk about fear in having these conversations, for example, fear in communicating, and I'm not talking about any particular conversation, it really is contextual. It depends on you, it depends on what's going on for you. It can be about broader society issues, or it can be on a really, really personal level as well. But we have zones of comfort. So that's where it relates to safety and survival on an evolutionary level. So that's society, our acceptance, like a society accepting us, and what happens if we aren't accepted by society. Evolution tells us that we have a lesser chance of surviving, and that's just evolutionarily. So we're talking about where it relates to safety and survival, where it is about the least amount of effort, because we are hardwired, our bodies physically are hardwired to find the most efficient way to do things, and our brains are as well, in a way, because it's looking for ease for us. And then there's the brain that might think we'll actually die if it's something new that it hasn't experienced before, if it's a scenario, if it's something that it has not experienced before, it has no frame of reference to say, oh, this is what's going to happen if, so I know that I'll be okay. And that's the whole thing with comfort zones. When we step outside of the comfort zone, that's why it feels scary, because our brain is trying to keep us safe. It's trying to look for the ways, it's looking for the danger so it can look for the ways to keep us safe. So if there is a zone of comfort that we are sitting and nestled very comfortably in, that is also keeping us playing small and keeping us hiding and shrinking ourselves, our brain, the survival part, the part that really runs us, the part that keeps us safe and alive, will be super happy. Our bodies will be super happy in that way. But doesn't mean to say that we will necessarily be super happy. We might have this feeling, and this is just ideas of feelings that might be had. It's not conclusive, it's not going to be experienced by everyone, but we might have the feelings of like there's something more. If you have, and I know more people who have than haven't, have had that feeling of, oh, I just feel like there's something more than what is right now, or I'm not quite satisfied with ... with this. So it's this feeling of there is more for our lives, or even it could be just the outright frustration of, why aren't I getting what I want in my life? But you could still be playing small or hiding or shrinking yourself over here. So in some ways that it can show up, and it's really just a good self-reflection. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong as such. It just means it's a self-reflection tool to consider and go, am I playing small? Am I playing into my comforts, which serve a purpose? Absolutely, as far as our nervous system goes. Am I playing into my comforts at the expense of the life I want to be living? So that could be things like where you live, whether it's a living situation or the location itself. Even if your living situation is awful, you could kind of stay there because better the devil you know, right? So it could be where you live. It could be your go-to crew of people that you go to, and it's not to say that they are bad, because I know that a lot of people now are really being choosy, as they should, with who they spend time with, who their friends are, but it's still something to reflect on. Even if it is all good, it's useful to reflect on it, to then affirm that to yourself. Go, oh yeah, I'm actually doing that really well. Great. Good job, me. Your job, it could be either the job itself or the position and workplace you're in. That can keep you playing small because there's security in that, right? There is a comfort in knowing where you are, knowing that you don't have to learn this whole new process or learn this whole new workplace or this whole new thing, because there is a comfort, there's safety in that comfort. It could be the conversations you have. So again, going back to that communication piece around how we feel fear of having courageous conversations or having different conversations that might rock the boat. And I've definitely shared this analogy many times before, but my favorite analogy is with that boat rocking. If we don't have what feels like a risky conversation, we're just going to assume that at the slightest little ripple, that boat will capsize. But when we learn to have those what feel like riskier conversations, we get to learn that the boat's actually able to withstand bigger waves than we expected. And that analogy has helped me through so much, just in the sense of visualizing what that outward representation is in terms of how it does feel to have those scary conversations. So, but it is easy to just hide in the easy conversations. So the conversations you have, but also the conversations you don't have. So same thing. And the things you choose to learn. So you might just continue with your confirmation bias and look for things that affirm what you already believe to be true, rather than looking for things that might challenge your way of thinking or grow your way of thinking. And the things you want but self-sabotage from, which kind of is on its own, but also encapsulates everything and everything I haven't mentioned. So these are examples of where you might be playing small. So where do you want things, but then unconsciously or consciously self-sabotage, and then wonder why it's not happening, or wonder why you can't get it, or just feel the frustration of it, or freeze, or whatever it is. So there's no real solution here in this video other than the encouragement to reflect on that for yourself. Look at where you might be playing small, where you might be hiding yourself when things like fear show up. And it could be to do with communication. It could be to do with something completely different. But where do you play small in your life? Where do you hide yourself in your little comfort zones, in a way that stops you from showing up as fully as you could be? And that showing up, I'm not even talking about in relation to other people, though it definitely is included in that, but that showing up is in showing up as fully as you could be in the world, in the work that you can bring to the world, the beauty you can bring to the world, the art you can bring to the world, the wisdom, the knowledge, the everything, right? The light that you can bring to the world, because we all can. But if you find that you are sitting in your comfort zones, that light and that beauty and that wisdom is far less likely to come out and shine as bright as it could, because we're hiding behind this cloak or this shade cloth that keeps us safe. And it's not to say that you have to burn it all and go nuts either. This is not advice saying that you should do that either, but it is that first step in just being aware of, oh, where might I be playing small? Am I really showing up with my housemates how I'd really like to, even though it might make things a little awkward in conversation to begin with? but then really good? Or am I really not happy in my job? Like, am I satisfied in my job? Or am I really unsatisfied, but I'm kind of just staying there because it means that there's no effort involved, like the effort that would be involved to change jobs, or to look for a new job, or to put myself out there for a job that I really want. And of course, the same thing with conversations and communication. As always, it's looking at, what conversations do I have? Why do I have them? Again, it's not to say that they are wrong to have, but it's just looking at, why do I have them? And what conversations am I not having, even though having them might actually clear the path a little? And everything that we create comes with a little bit of discomfort, for sure. That's kind of life. I don't really have anything otherwise to say about it, other than, yes, it can be really uncomfortable. It can feel awkward. You might be met with crickets at first, but I guarantee that there is a sense of, and it will never end. I suspect that it'll be an ongoing, lifelong thing of looking at where we are playing small, because we are evolving as humans, individual humans. We are evolving within ourselves throughout our lifetime, right? We're never the one person. We're never the same person. So it's just about, what kind of life do you want to live? What kind of interactions do you want to have? What kind of experiences do you want to have? And really, and gently, but really being honest with yourself about where you are hiding yourself away from being able to receive and do and be those things. And know that, again, it's not all going to be just a box that you can tick and be like, okay, that's sorted, I'm done. It also just becomes about just noticing the differences and the rewards that will come along the way as a result. And they will always, always, always come. So look at your fear points, look at your comfort zones, your zones of comfort. And while they may serve you in certain scenarios, we're talking about the scenarios of where you are playing small and hiding, and what you then choose to do about that.